Now that Super League chatter is over, it's time for the Champions League semifinals. And we talk Real Madrid against Chelsea. First leg Tuesday. Champions League preview with Jimmy Conrad and James Benge begins right now. What's up, everybody? Qué Golazo, Champions League semifinals. Just getting tasty. It's already tasty. Jimmy Conrad, how are you, my friend?
I am great. I'm sorry I missed everybody this weekend. So much to talk about. I'm sure you and Heath had a great time, but me and James are here now, so everybody's life should be better.
Everybody's life should be better. That's right. James Benge, how are you?
Dream team. We're rolling.
Dream team. Love it. How are you? Good. You good?
Tottenham lost a cup final. I'm feeling good.
Tottenham lost a cup final. Julian Nagelsmann probably won't go that way as well. So much to talk about. Hey, everybody, welcome to Champions League Qué Golazo Tuesday preview. Real Madrid against Chelsea. A cracking game, hopefully. Jimmy Conrad, how are you feeling about this one? Before we even get into the details and everything, I say to you, Real Madrid against Chelsea. What's your first initial feeling, emotion?
Well, I'll say that winning this competition is in Madrid's DNA. And as much as I have respect for what Thomas Tuchel has done with Chelsea and the defensive identity that he's brought to the table for them, and the tight games that he's winning. I mean, really impressive, I guess, in some ways against West Ham, but maybe more so in the FA Cup semifinals against Man City. So I don't know, though. Madrid in this, it's just really hard to go against him.
Yeah, we have said that before. Going against them in this competition has really hit us where it hurts. James Benge, I know that you have an old Premier League final in the Champions League. Has that changed? Are you riddled a little bit by what's going on? What do you think? If I say to you, Real Madrid, Chelsea, what's your initial emotion to?
Well, this is, old money against new money, isn't it? I know that we've, that Chelsea feel like a part of the Champions League furniture compared with other clubs. But, I mean, it's still, even despite all that, it's a tie with some proper European heritage. I think these have been sort of two of the great Champions League teams of late, and for a slightly longer period with Chelsea, but even for a little while with Real Madrid, it felt like they went off the boil a bit. I feel like with both of them, you can see something building for the long term, that this might be, maybe not the two premier clubs, but clubs we see around the quarterfinals, semi-finals with some of these players, Vinicius, Havertz, Mount. We could be seeing this matchup more than one or two times over the next few years. I think there's some really good players on offer.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Jimmy, the one thing, and I wanted to just open it up as a chat here before we get into the actual game itself. From a league perspective, it's also intriguing. I mean, Chelsea, obviously, their main objective is Champions League qualification for next year. Obviously, an FA Cup final as well. Real Madrid looking, as they tied against Real Betis and Atleti losing. Barcelona, all they need to do is win every single game. So I'm wondering what's going to happen there. How do you see it in terms of their current campaigns in both leagues?
Well, let me give some context first, because I think this is interesting as it pertains to this, and I think that will lead into more of the tail of the tape in current times. This is the 30th year since the rebrand of the Champions League, and that was new information for me. I was excited when I found that in my research. Now, Real Madrid has been in the semifinals. This is their 14th time of those 30 years since the rebrand. That is ridiculous. Averaging close to once every 2 years, they're in the Champions League semifinals. That is more than anybody else by far. They've won the tournament 7 of the previous 13 times they've been in the semifinals. They've won 5 of the last 6 times they've been in, 3 consecutive, when they won 3 consecutive trophies from 2016 to 2018. Now, what I found interesting for Chelsea, and this speaks to Benge's point, because Chelsea actually has gotten to this point quite a few times. They've gotten to the semifinals since the rebrand 8 times. And that is the most of any English club over that time period, which I thought was interesting, because we always think Manchester United. We always think, maybe not think Man City, but I guess we think United and even Liverpool to a certain extent. But they've only won once out of those 8. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get back to the final, of course. They've met 3 times, these two clubs, but this is the first time in 23 years. And I got some trivia for you guys, okay? Chelsea defeated, and the last time they faced each other, they defeated Madrid in the 1998 UEFA Super Cup 1-0. The game was played in Monaco. Who scored the winner in that game?
Zola.
No. He was on the team, though. He was on the team.
I want to say it was Dan Petrescu, or was it Jody Morris? I remember this game. My dad's a big Chelsea fan.
Was it Toriander Flo?
Toriander Flo came in the 89th minute for the goal score. It was Gus Poyet.
Oh, CBS colleague. I feel bad now.
yeah. So anyway, I just want to throw some trivia at you guys. Okay, so let's get into current times. Real Madrid are currently on a 17-game unbeaten streak. They've outscored their opponents 28-8 over that time. They've recorded 9 clean sheets, including 4 consecutive. They're on 4 consecutive clean sheets. Chelsea has something very similar. They've not allowed, though, I think this is really important, especially when it comes to the wagering angle. They've not allowed more than 1 goal in any of those 17 matches. And and Karim Benzema in particular, 13 games. He actually had to miss 3 or 4 due to that adductor injury, but over that stretch, he scored 12 goals in 13 games, 53 shots total, 26 shots on goal, and they've not lost any of those. They've had 9 wins and 4 draws. The only time, let's get into Zidane really quick. He's only lost once in the knockout rounds with Real Madrid, and that was against Manchester City last season. So I don't know. That's what's interesting on that side. Tuchel, obviously, killing it. 14 wins, 5 draws, and 2 losses in 21 games. They're unbeaten on the road, so that's interesting because his first leg is on the road. And Thomas Tuchel is undefeated against Real Madrid in his career. He's beaten them 4 times, or he's unbeaten. Sorry, 3 draws and 1 win. 2 draws, 2-2 draws with Borussia Dortmund in the group stages, and then he 2-2 draw with PSG and then beat him 3-0 in the group stages as well. So all group stage games, so maybe a little something different there. My big storyline, though, I'm just going to get to it. Eden Hazard came back this weekend against Real Betis, and I would love nothing more than for him to score against his former club. Okay, you guys can talk now.
So much goodness. It was like a basket of candy. I love it. I love it. James Benge, what say you after all that context? Has anything shifted, especially in this first leg?
No, I can just take all that and just like everything Jimmy said, just replace Real Madrid with Chelsea. You know, these are like the two. I think if you kind of look at the underlying Champions League numbers, Chelsea's are a little sexier, you know, but I mean, we're talking about really tight margins here. These are 2 of the 3 best defenses in the competition. It just maybe doesn't help that the lying in wait probably in the final will be the best defense in the competition. But one of the things that I really have been impressed by with Chelsea is just their refusal to let you anywhere near, you know, the part of their penalty area that's sort of vaguely a good shooting spot in line with their goals. We've seen what it takes to score against a Thomas Tuchel Chelsea team in the Champions League. It takes one of the best goals I've seen in years. Mehdi Taremi, overhead bicycle kick. Now, Karim Benzema, I don't know how flexible he is at his age. I know he's a wonderful striker. He's going to, you know, I think strikers like Benzema, I think, have the best potential to sort of make life a bit more difficult for Chelsea, in that he's not someone that Thiago Silva or Kurt Zouma or Christensen or whoever it is can kind of defend one-on-one and get tight to and win the aerial balls, because Benzema is going to move out to the channels. He's going to try and create angles for the wide forwards to attack into. That's a bit more fiddly to defend, especially with the back. If you have 3 defenders and no real reference point in front of them, it becomes a bit difficult to, you know, to keep that line of 3 there, because you just think we're wasting our time. We need to kind of get out and move up the pitch. But Chelsea have been so good at keeping that discipline. You know, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but it was something I asked Thomas Tuchel about in the press conference as well, was talking about how he's turned this, what was basically a chasm at the back, into a outstanding defense. I mean, you never quite get the answer you want from this. It was all about the players, their effort, their hard work, and they're clearly working for him. But equally, he's really come up with something hugely impressive. You've seen great advances. Chilwell and Reece James are 2 outstanding defensive wing backs. So you basically are defending with 7 players. And I think the big question for me is, when Benzema drops into those spaces, who takes him? Is it Kante and Jorginho, or is it the back 3? Can that back 3 hold? Because if they can, I don't really see Real Madrid getting too much joy. Equally, I'm not really expecting Chelsea to get much against whatever defense Madrid put out, for all the reasons Jimmy said.
Yeah, I think it's a partnership between Benzema and whoever supports him as well, because I think, to your point about how Chelsea have done so well and their protection, they just close out any type of space. And if Benzema holds the ball or whatever, you're going to need big stuff from Vinicius Jr. You're going to need big stuff from Eden Hazard. I mean, that's going to be a key thing as well. Can you imagine that? Just like Jimmy said, you know, performing well against his former club, Jimmy, that would be something. But
I can't imagine him performing well. I can't imagine him performing. So, it's been a really long time since he was good at football.
I know, but it's not completely his fault. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt just because of the injuries that he's had to go through. But you can't deny just how good of a player he can be. I mean, obviously, it might not work. It might not happen. But I think my point is it depends everything on how you support Karim Benzema as well. I think everything you said is spot on. I think it's about, Tuchel is so good at saying, all right, you give us A, B, and C, we will nullify A, B, and C, and then we'll react to it. So to me, it's about making sure he doesn't concede. Jimmy, Real Madrid, they're at home. I feel that Zidane wants to take care of business right now. Forget about the second leg. Let's take care of business. What do you think?
Okay, so I've got another stat for you guys. I'm stat heavy today. Real Madrid has won 9 out of the last 10 first leg matches in the Champions League knockout phase, scoring 2+ goals in 8 of those 10 matches. I don't think they're going to score 2+ goals in this particular matchup for the reasons that you guys are discussing. My big, issue from an attacking perspective from Madrid is Benzema obviously has to get the ball. And I think, how do you get him the ball? And to Benge's point, where do you get him the ball? And then what happens with Vinicius Jr. and Asensio, who are going to have to run past him to create a little bit of that verticality to make sure they can stretch Chelsea a little bit to find those gaps. The problem is, and what Chelsea does very well is with their 3 center backs, they really tuck into those spots where I would say Vinicius Jr. can run in between those areas. So let's take the goal in between Trent Alexander-Arnold and Nat Phillips for Liverpool. There's a gap there for Vinicius to run into, right? But when you have 3 center backs, that gap doesn't exist. So now you're pushing that space a little bit wider. So now Asensio and Vinicius don't have those slashing runs inside the center backs because the starting positions for Chelsea are so good. So I find that really interesting to see how they're going to try to create that. Obviously, the midfield battle is going to be ridiculous. Jorginho and Conte versus Kroos and Madrids and Casemiro. Yes, please sign me up for that. I could watch that every week. And actually, they should do a league called Super League and have them play every. You know what? That's a really good idea. We can talk about that in the next episode. So my one lineup thing though defensively is that Carvajal comes back into the team right back. Lucas Vazquez is out, and obviously Carvajal has always been the main starter. He's only played once in the Champions League out of 10 games so far. He's been hurt since January 2nd. He hasn't played a lot of minutes, though he did start on the weekend. Ferland Mendy is hurt on the left side, and I don't think they have an adequate replacement. You can't put Marcelo there. I'm sorry for all you Marcelo fans who loved him over the years. The guy does not defend. You need him to defend in this one. But maybe you don't. I guess maybe you can consider him, but if they want to be conservative, if Zidane wants to come out and be conservative, Nacho could probably slide in. Varane looks like he's going to come back into the team. So that back line, though they got another clean sheet this past weekend, still trying to figure out what they can do. Anytime, though, I say that Madrid doesn't have can't do the business, they figure out a way to get results. So
yeah, be very careful. And that back forward, like you said, kept a clean sheet. Granted, it was a Real Betis. Two storylines here for you, James. Chelsea, very good. I know that we have them high in this Champions League. In the knockout stages, in my opinion, they haven't been tested yet. Porto, with all due respect, right? Atletico Madrid, I think, limited. Real Madrid is a completely different kind of animal. This is going to be a different opponent. So I'm wondering if that's going to be something to think about with this game for Chelsea and Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, I suppose I completely agree with you. And whether their Champions League campaign has been good kind of pivots on where you credit the drubbing of Atletico Madrid. Was it that, Chelsea locked them down and that Atletico aren't really a team that are well suited? They didn't have the ideas, but that where's the starting point? Is it Atletico had no ideas and it was quite easy for Chelsea to defend, or Chelsea defended really well and Atletico couldn't work out? I kind of gravitated towards the latter because, there were a few early chances for Atletico. But I completely agree with you. This is another tier of test. And because you can't just rely on 2 clean sheets or 1 clean sheet, I think they'll get 1, but you can't rely on 2 clean sheets over the tie. So you need to convince me that you can score goals. And this is still the unanswered question with Chelsea is what's the front 3? Who's the centre forward? And how do you punish them? You've got one, probably I would think guaranteed starter in Mason Mount. My suspicion is he plays off the right. And then maybe it's, there are lots of options, but I suspect it will come down to 2 from Werner, Pulisic, Hazard. Hazard would be great. Kai Havertz, the other very expensive player. And obviously it's really different ways of playing then. Havertz he plays it like De Bruyne plays centre forward. It's not quite false 9. It's like a playmaking target man. And then Werner's back. Is he back in form? He scores one and then misses a sitter. And, for statistically minded people, it's getting really, 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 really hard to go, well, look, the important thing is that Timo keeps getting in those positions, because he keeps getting in those positions. And then like the Benny Hill music plays, wah, 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 or whatever. But he only needs to score one of them, doesn't he? And that could have a major impact. I think, and I suspect, based on the fact he was in the press conference as well, there seems like there's a good chance that Pulisic starts, probably on the left, probably going at Carvajal. That could be a really significant matchup, because for once, Pulisic is playing against someone who's less fresh, not coming back from an injury more frequently than he is. And I mean, he looks really good. He's really feeling.
Did he say he didn't think of himself as an injury-prone player?
He doesn't think of himself as an injury-prone player.
At least somebody thinks that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, the history of injuries prove themselves, right? Yeah, Jimmy's keeping very quiet here. Listen, Jimmy. All right, let's get into the lines here, because I have a set scoreline for this game, and I don't think anything's going to change my mind. Jimmy, what do you say with betting lines right now and William Hill?
Listen, I'm a little frustrated with this Christian Pulisic slander. He can be the third U.S. international to ever play in the Champions League semifinals. DeMarcus Beasley is the only one to start. He did it in 2005. Tyler Adams did play last year, but he came off the bench to make that happen. He could be the first
amazing.
American
It really
to ever
is.
score.
It's commendable. Yeah.
And listen, he was actually very, very good against Porto. They fouled him,
Yes,
25 times, even though they lost that one. I do want to say, when thinking about these lines, that Chelsea have played 2 La Liga teams in this competition so far, Sevilla twice and Atletico Madrid twice, obviously both in the top 4, playing very well domestically. They didn't give up a goal over those 4. So something to consider with them kind of handling La Liga teams. Can they do it against the greatest to ever do in this competition? I don't know. So the lines that I'm looking at, I think we can all agree the under 1.5 goals is plus 175. It's a 0-0 or 1-0. And I think we could probably all agree that maybe there's a 1-1 opportunity here, but that would be the only thing that would ruin that. So I'm looking at that. The draw and under 2.5 goals plus 225. I'm looking hard at that. Now, if you want to get into exact score lines, which is where Luis wants to go, 0-0 is plus 650. 1-1 is plus 460. That's the favorite on William Hill. 1-0 in favor of Madrid is plus 550. 1-0 in favor of Chelsea's plus 700. I think we can all agree it's going to be one of those 4 results.
No, I agree. Yeah.
The other things I'm looking at, clean sheet for Real Madrid plus 155. Chelsea to get a clean sheet plus 230. The other fun ones I'm looking at is who's going to get a yellow. Casemiro is a yellow card machine. That guy, yeah, damn, he just loves yellow cards. Plus 180 for him to get a yellow anytime. Carvajal, like I said, only played once. I think he's going to be eager to get out there, and he might have his hands full with either Pulisic or Hakim Ziyech or Werner, whoever it may be. So I could see him get a needless yellow card.
Aspilicueta, Jimmy.
He's another one. I got to look at his line. I didn't have him ready to go. But Nacho playing out of position. If Nacho starts at left back, just that uncomfortability of this isn't where I normally play. His position could be a little off. I could see him using his arms to bring somebody down, maybe Mason Mount or Reece James or whoever it is. Plus 230 for him to get a yellow anytime. So those are the lines I'm looking at for you guys and things maybe you should consider.
I love it. I'm going with a 1-0 to Real Madrid. I thought that already as soon as I thought of this game. I just think it's going to be very tight, but I think that business wants to be taken care of by Zinedine Zidane. I see Karim Benzema just maybe getting that goal. 1-0 to Real Madrid. What say you, James Benge?
I mean, that's tempting. I just can't get over the idea that this is it. Nothing is going to. Both these teams are sufficiently conservative that nothing will be decided, nothing will be scored. So I went for a 0-0. I think we all agree this tie is not going to be won, no matter what Zidane and Tuchel might like. It's not going to be won in the first 90 minutes. I just think Madrid are so smart at this that yes, they've been a team that run out into leads in first legs at home, but I think they kind of know that the value of an away goal in this tie, and I think they will be very careful to not concede one, and very, very much will push for one at Stamford Bridge in a week.
Yeah, no, listen, I think Jimmy's spot on. Those 4 results that you just said, that's what's going to happen, surely. Jimmy, what's your final guess on this one then?
Well, just to kind of answer your question, Aspilicueta plus 300 to get a yellow card anytime.
That's easy money.
It sounds like it. I guess I could see Real Madrid winning this one 1-0. I think that they're savvy in this competition. Every time we discount them, they do find a way to get a result. We probably don't talk about Madrids and Kroos enough in terms of how they move that team along. They do it so quietly and so expertly. You almost take them for granted. The only 2 losses that Real Madrid have suffered so far in the Champions League this season are to Shakhtar Donetsk, how is that even possible? So
insane.
you count those. I mean, they've done well, and they seem to have figured it out on the defensive side of the ball. They seem really steady despite whoever plays in their back four. And then Karim Benzema obviously has been lights out. And if Vinicius can play at the levels that he did against Liverpool, I could see them getting a goal. But I can also see a goal coming from a set piece. Sergio Ramos is not involved in this one for leg 1, so we'll see if he emerges for leg 2. But he's going to be out. And he's always kind of the master of scoring that big set piece goal to help somehow get through or get Madrid through onto the next round. I could see a 1-0 Real Madrid, but I think under 1.5 goals is my safest bet. Under 1.5 total goals, under 1.5 total goals plus 175, because that gives some room for a 1-0, one direction or the other.
And nobody sees Chelsea scoring in this first leg. The 3 of us did not see Chelsea scoring in this one.
To Benge's point, like who,
Yeah.
and how against the Madrid team that had to have gained a ton of confidence beating Liverpool in the next round, who had arguably a much better front 3 when you look at them kind of pound for pound. But in terms of execution, the front 3 for Liverpool over the years, much better than Chelsea's.
Yep, fair enough. Well, that's it. That's our Champions League preview for Real Madrid against Chelsea. Final thoughts. Let's go to you, James Benge. Final thoughts about this game or anything that you want to talk about.
I mean, I'm absolutely certain now that this is going to be 5-4 to Real Madrid. Definitely.
It's definitely going to be that as well. Jimmy Conrad, what about you?
I just want to give a shout out to Chicharito for absolutely lighting it up the last 2 games. 5 goals.
Former Real Madrid player.
Yeah. He is. He's a former of a lot of teams, but I'm excited for him. That's exciting. The thing is, I don't have him in my fantasy team. I know it was a little bit MLS talk here at the end, but I just really impressed with the LA Galaxy and Chicharito in particular.
No, of course. Hey, former Real Madrid player. And by the way, watch his post-game presser. It's beautiful. He's so likable. It's ridiculous. But anyway, that's it. Thank you so much, James Benge.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Jimmy Conrad.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, everybody. I want to thank Jimmy Conrad and James Benge for joining me today. Please make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Qué Golazo Pod. Listen to us and follow us on Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star rating and review. We're also on Spotify, on Stitcher, on YouTube, CBSSports.com. We have plenty more, including our Champions League recaps, our Wednesday previews, Europa League, and our weekend preview as well. Have a great week.